Good evening. If you don't like the road you are walking, start paving another one. Welcome to BMC News Live in English. I am Vinod Narayanan joining you with the daily news updates. Today's headlines. Bahrain travel entry procedures updated. Municipal fees slashed for 226 Bahraini families. New tourism strategy to build on success. WHO stated that billions needed for COVID-19 vaccines and medicines around the world. News in detail. Bahrain travel entry procedures updated. Bahrain updates COVID-19 travel rules. All travelers flying into Bahrain who have received COVID-19 vaccinations approved by the World Health Organization will be allowed entry into the country based on the recommendation of the National Medical Team for Coronavirus and the approval of the Coordinating Committee. Civil Aviation Affairs announced that the entry procedures for the Kingdom of Bahrain via Bahrain International Airport will be updated starting from Sunday, October 31st. The recommendations were approved by the Government Executive Committee chaired by Deputy King His Royal Highness Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa at a meeting earlier in the day. All entry procedures for Bahrain are available on the Health Ministry's website healthalert.government.bh. New rules for installment payment plans to be discussed. Traders selling products to customers on installment payments plans without a proper license or at highly inflated prices could face up to a year in jail and fines of between BD 1,000 and BD 5,000 for both under a new law aimed at regulating the practice. The draft legislation, which will be debated during the Shura Council's weekly session on Sunday, has been proposed by 5 members led by Dr. Bassam Al bin Mohammed. It has been backed by the Shura Council Financial and Economic Affairs Committee and follows claims that retailers have been charging inflated prices by offering customers installment payment options using complex calculations. Finance and National Economy Ministers' initiatives to revitalize the economy and spur growth. Finance and National Economy Minister Sheikh Salman bin Khalifa Al Khalifa has today held a remote meeting with Bahrain Chamber of Commerce and Industry Chairman Samir Nas and other related parties. The virtual session followed the keynote speech of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa at the opening of the 4th session of the 5th legislative term. His Majesty the King had then called upon businessmen in different state productive service and economic sectors to propose initiatives to develop the economy and generate rewarding jobs for Bahrainis. New tourism strategy to build on success. Bahrain has more than doubled the number of key tourist markets it is targeting as part of the Tourism 2.0 strategy, a top minister has revealed. The plan for 2020-2026 will cover 18 markets where the kingdom will actively promote Bahrain as a destination for meetings, incentives, conference and exhibitions tourism, said Industry, Commerce and Tourism Minister Zayed Al Zayani. He was speaking during a special summit on redesigning tourism at the Future Investment Initiative in Riyadh. The full list of countries is still to be announced, and they will follow in the footsteps of the UK, Germany and Russia amongst others. Bahrain wins presidency of Montreal Protocol Executive Committee. Personal representative of His Majesty the King, President of the Supreme Council for Environment, His Highness Sheikh Abdullah bin Hamad Al Khalifa, has announced the Kingdom of Bahrain's winning of the presidency of the Executive Committee of the Montreal Protocol on substances that deplete the ozone layer for the year 2022. The achievement is considered the first of its kind at the Gulf level since ratification of the protocol in 1987. He also lauded the kingdom's keenness in cooperation in the environmental field and fighting climate change and its repercussions. Municipal fees slashed for 226 Bahraini families. Works, Municipalities Affairs and Urban Planning Minister Essam bin Abdullah Khalaf issued edicts reducing fees for 223 Bahraini tenant families and exempting 3 others last September. The reduction is in the line with the directives of the Prime Minister and Cabinet's resolution to alleviate living costs for citizens, said the minister in a statement. The move is also in implementation of the royal drive of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa to ensure decent living conditions for all citizens and exempt low-income families from paying the fees or waive their arrears. Bahrain cricket team beat Saudi. Man of the match Sarfaraz Ali scored 67 runs off 45 balls, while Satya and Anasim Khan claimed 2 wickets each as Bahrain sealed an 18-run victory over Saudi Arabia in the ICC Men's T20 World Cup Asia Group, a qualifier in Doha yesterday. Bahrain put up a total of 179 for 9 in 20 overs after Saudi Arabia, who won the toss, put their opponents into bat. Sarfaraz and Mohammad Yunus, who scored 33 runs, gave Bahrain a fine start with an opening partnership of 88 runs. Imran Ali, who followed, contributed 29, but the rest of the batsmen could not stay at the crease for long as the innings ended at 179 for 9. Bahrain reported 33 new coronavirus cases and 68 recoveries. Out of 6,368 COVID-19 tests carried out on 28 October, 33 new cases have been detected among 12 expatriate workers, 18 new cases are contacts of active cases, and 3 travel-related. There were 68 recoveries from COVID-19. There are currently 2 COVID-19 cases in a critical condition and 5 cases receiving treatment. 525 are stable out of a total of 527 active cases. Now we will be back after a very short break.
Bhavan. The exclusive franchisee of Cochin Kala Bhavan in Bahrain. With over a decade of existence in Bahrain, exclusive online regular classes have started for classical dances, music vocal, instrumental music, cinematic dance, Kathak, Zumba body fitness, karate and yoga, drawing, arts and craft, children's theatre. For more information, please call 3909 6845. 3909 4806 38 85 2397 or visit www.bahrainmediacity.com. IMAC Cochin Kala Bhavan.
Welcome back. Brave Combat Federation lands in India on October 31st. Brave Combat Federation, the premier international mixed martial arts promotion in Bahrain, has joined forces with the All India MMA Federation, the Karnataka State MMA Association, and the Global Association of Mixed Martial Arts to launch Road to Brave. The main event, Brave Sea of Fight Night Road to Brave, will be held on October 31st at the E-Zone Lagoon Resort in Bangalore. The event starts at 7 p.m. local time. The week also features seminars for referees, judges and officials, striking combat sport competitions, and an opening ceremony planned for the days leading up to the fight night. Road to Brave India will see 16 professional fighters, some of the most talented Indian mixed martial artists, competing in 8 bouts for a chance to join the truly global MMA promotion and become the next international superstar. WHO Director General runs unopposed for second 5-year term. The World Health Organization said Friday that its Director General, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, is running unopposed for a second 5-year term. The UN Health Agency made the announcement after the deadline for candidacies for the next term expired on September 23rd. The formal selection of the next Director General takes place at the WHO's next assembly in May. Tedros, an Ethiopian national who is the first African to head WHO, has overseen the agency's complex response to the COVID-19 pandemic, which has overshadowed his tenure. Trained in biology and infectious diseases with a doctorate in community health, he is also the first WHO chief who is not a medical doctor. G20 haggles on how to push for immediate action on global warming. The group of 20 large industrialized nations is contemplating a call for immediate action to limit global warming, though agreement on some of the details of their call remained elusive on Thursday. The push is an effort by the nations which together are responsible for more than 75% of all greenhouse gas emissions to present a united front before they join other delegations at the COP26 World Climate Conference in Glasgow this weekend. But delegations preparing the summit have not yet agreed whether the G20 will also commit to a common goal of net zero emissions of greenhouse gases or carbon dioxide neutrality by 2050. According to a draft of summit's final declaration. WHO stated that billions needed for COVID-19 vaccines and medicines around the world. Billions more are needed to supply the world's population with vaccines and medicines against COVID-19 up to September 2022. The World Health Organization put the need at $23.4 billion. This would prevent at least 5 million potential deaths and save the global economy more than $5.3 billion. The uneven distribution of vaccines and medicines so far is preventing the coronavirus pandemic from ending soon, the WHO said. This increases the risk of new and more dangerous variants of the coronavirus developing against which previous vaccines and medicines are not effective enough. So far, only 0.5% of available vaccines have been used in the poorest countries, even though they make up 9% of the population, it said. US economy slowed to a 2% rate last quarter in face of COVID. Hampered by rising COVID-19 cases and persistent supply shortages, the US economy slowed sharply to a 2% annual growth rate in the July-September period, the weakest quarterly expansion since the recovery from the pandemic recession began last year. Thursday's report from the Commerce Department estimated that the nation's gross domestic product, its total output of goods and services, declined from robust growth rates of 6.7% in the second quarter and 6.3% in the first quarter. The 2% annual growth last quarter fell below expectations and would have been weaker if not for a sharp increase in restocking by business, which added whatever supplies they could obtain. Facebook is changing its name and logo. Facebook announced Thursday that it is changing its name to Meta Platforms Incorporated, joining a long list of companies that have tried to rebrand themselves over the years. The move comes as the company deals with the fallout from the Facebook Papers, a leaked document trial that has revealed the ways Facebook ignored internal reports and warning of the harms its social network created for magnified across the world. CEO Mark Zuckerberg says the company will focus on Metaverse, a virtual computer-generated space where people can interact. It includes other growing businesses that aren't its namesake site, such as virtual reality hardware branch Oculus and Horizon Worlds, virtual reality software that's still in beta testing mode. With that, we come to the end of today's news. Stay tuned for daily news updates in BMC News Live English at 7:30 p.m. every day. I am Vinod Narayanan, signing off from BMC News Live. Good night.